So, good evening, audience. I'm Xuan Wang from UCA 9 News, and today we have we have a special guest who are recently come to the first in the accounting academic world by the article he wrote. So I will introduce Brian Kim, who come from University of Canberra. So good evening, Mr. Kim.
Good evening, Mr. Wang.
So could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, I'm Brian Kim from the University of Canberra, who's studying accounting now. It is a great honor to be here.
And could you please explain to us about the article that you created?
The article that me and roommate discussed is regarding mining company operating in Tanzania, which has caused social environmental disruption to the locals and how they apply the various defenses, mechanisms and strategies, especially CSR report to salvage their tarnished identity and images. I talk about a little bit more about the article. The article specifically analyzed the strategies implemented by Barrick Gold Corporation, Acacia Mining and its subsidiary, NMGM, to avoid stigmatization at North Mara sites in Tanzania. Strategies that were implemented to avoid stigmas include denial, evasion of the responsibility through dissociation, reducing offensiveness, corrective action, and mortification. In here, 2 series on image restoration typology and writing on stigma and self-presentation inspired the author's article framework. Collection of data and pieces of the information are mainly through a second source between the year 2005 to 2016 of newspaper articles, government report from the think tank, non-governmental organization that advocate human rights, and other international organizations and blogs. All the evidence and the data retrieved are in English and surprisingly not in their native language. A qualitative case study was conducted in study to analyze the situation in Tanzania. A second analysis was also conducted on hidden information of evidence through capturing the specific text, words, and phrases that are related to the stigma management tactics. And most of this evidence was retrieved from the established blogs and news agencies such as The Guardian, The Telegraph, The Financial Times, and Bloomberg News. In order to prevent biased perspective from the preconceptions toward the mining companies, the article states that they will only relate core stigma that is associated with the core activities of the organization, such as mining extraction and its impact after social and environmental destruction.
So I guess it's a very interesting topic to make your critique. So what was your aims when you do this article?
Article, okay.
Yeah.
So the report aims to scrutinize the strengths, weakness, limitation, opportunities, and internal and external validity of the given article with the Benoit and Goffman series. Furthermore, my report was examining how research data were collected throughout the article.
So would you mind please tell us specifically about the strengths that you found and wrote in your report?
Okay, the strengths. The author referenced extensive theory on stigma and image restoration, strategies to analyze and explain the response to the organizational stigma via case study of BGC and Acacia. Their findings are convincing as they have cited a several conflict and incident through credible sources and how this information are critically analyzed. For example, the author would cite a denial statement from ABG's official website that attempts to dissociate its responsibility over ABG's attempt to show empathy for the problems in North Mara, Tanzania, and suggest the image restoration series to support his statement.
Yes. And is there any other strengths that you found, or because I guess the audience want to know more about that one?
Okay, there's a few other strengths. First one can be the article has provided a deeper insight into corporate legitimacy, crisis handling, and CSR reporting, which would be able to prevent the lack of knowledge in accounting on organizational stigma, particularly related to social context. Also, they made the understanding of the organizational level stigma through theories. And furthermore, they have extended the limits of literature on social and environmental disclosure to analyze the nature of the strategic responses. And the author is aware of the limitation of the experiment and presenting future research direction to implement its limitation, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And lastly, many years of time, from 2005 to 2016, and efforts has been used to gather and analyze their studies. Also provided evidence by long list reference as well.
And it seems to very article. This article is very strong strength. It was any weakness as well. So because I think it's very hard to find the weakness. So especially this kind of good article. So.
Okay. Even though this article has lots of strengths, there's also weaknesses as well. The research article failed to provide other supporting evidence that showed effort and attempt rectification of CSR reporting by the mining corporation and its subsidiary. And the article only covers what BGC, Acacia, and its subsidiary did to mobilize various stigma management tactics in an attempt to limit, hinder, and shape the effect of the stigma. Me and my group may find the way the data have been collected or analyzed is under the personal agenda of the researcher. Thus, could potentially seek data that only affirm their pre-existing concept on mining corporations. Not only does this provide a personal bias to the readers, but the validity of the article could be potentially be undermined. For instance, in their second stage of analysis, which focus on the hidden content of evidence that requires careful interpretation and explanation as well. And lastly, they revealed that they were only interested in the text words or phrase that were related to the stigma management tactics, which would be eliminate the possibility of including a neutral or positive aspect of the corporations. This type of bone-picking approach would usually result in bias.
Yeah. So actually, you and your group did a great job. So if it was me, I think I wouldn't find so much about that one. So as far as I know, it is important to find our not only the strengths and the weakness, but also you refer to that, right? The limitation and the opportunity. So would you mind to talk about these two parts?
Yep, I'll talk about the limitation and opportunity a little bit.
Yeah.
So several limitations were observed in the study. For example, evidence retrieved were all in English and known from the native newses, which lacked the perspective from the local authority and resident. The whole research was only based on two theories, namely image restoration theory and writing regarding stigma and self-presentation. Furthermore, this research article only relied on two theories to present organizational stigmatization and stigma management tactics. Hence, more theoretical explanations are required to provide a better understanding of the cause of the organizational stigmatization. Moreover, this article analyzed the one's case of the mining company in Tanzania among many industries. Thus, it might have different in not only mining company in other countries, but also other industries such as financial industry or retail industry. But there's opportunity as well. They said we have to more empirically and theoretical research can make the researcher's argument for organization stigma and legitimacy stronger. In order to better understand the organizational stigmatization spread from the critical stakeholder to a broader organizational environment, they suggest to explore more of the difference between the event stigma and the core stigma and know how the event stigma may become a core stigma. Moreover, to further search a direction in organization stigma research, future in-depth interview with managers and other key stakeholders can elicit their view and enhance their understanding of rationale for adoption of organization stigma.
So thank you so much for your time. It is beneficial time for me and our audience to listen to your ideas. So is there any things you want to say, you want to talk to our audience?
Okay. Again, I really appreciate for giving me an opportunity to talk about my article critique in such a great place and to many people. I'll try to go write more in the future so I can help to development accounting more.
Yeah. So for our audience, how was you feeling for our news today? So I hope this time that we would benefit for you. So next week we will invite Dr. Harvey, who comes from University of Canberra as well. He is a doctor in University of Canberra. So his article on accounting positive theory is very, very good. He did a great job as well. So please do not miss it. Thank you for watching UCA 9 News. Thank you all of you.
Thank you.